And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here with you this morning, joined by Mike Johnson. He is a counselor with SCORE. Good morning.
Good morning.
SCORE, please tell us, for those who might not know, what is it? What do you do?
All right. Well, SCORE has been around for a while. It was founded 52 years ago. And since then, it has grown to be a national organization with more than 300 chapters. And I'm one of some 11,000 business execs who provide our services. We serve small businesses. Although small, we use the definition provided by the U.S. Small Business Administration. So a small business could actually have as many as 500 people and $50 million in sales.
Oh, goodness.
But many of the clients we serve are truly small. Some of them are startups. Some have been in business for a long time, and they have certain situations they'd like to address. Maybe it's opportunities for growth. Maybe it's problems. So we serve both startups and existing businesses. We serve both for-profits and nonprofits.
Okay.
This chapter here in Canton was founded as a branch of the Akron chapter back in 1980, and it grew and succeeded such that in 1990 we were spun off as a standalone chapter.
Does SCORE, is it an acronym for something?
Good question. Let me offer an answer with some perspective.
Okay.
Many people know that ARP started as the American Association of Retired Persons, but as many people who joined were not retired, it simply became ARP.
Yeah.
SCORE began as the Service Corps of Retired Executives. But as more and more of the execs were not retired, it dropped the acronym, dropped the words, and simply became SCORE.
So I know there is an organization of retired executives in the area that's very active. This is an offshoot of that originally?
No,
Nope.
not an offshoot at all. SCORE was actually founded in Washington, D.C., and it was actually founded under the wings of the U.S. Small Business Administration. Gradually, SCORE became its own 501c3 charitable private association.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to be able to offer a startup company, small business. You know, there's so many questions you have, and where do you go?
So many things a person can do wrong.
So many things. How nice if we could learn from someone else's mistakes
Right.
before making them again.
That's right.
So
That's
what
right.
kinds of assistance do you provide?
Well, certainly we provide what we call one-on-one counseling, wherein someone seeks to establish a relationship with us. Generally, though, one-on-one is more like two-on-one or three-on-one, as we'll assemble a team, depending on the needs of a particular small business that comes to us for help. And you name any aspect of starting or running any kind of business, and we'll offer that counsel. It could be accounting, it could be marketing, it could be business planning, it could be supply chain management or human resource management, any aspect. And our chapter here has 40 members, and so together we represent, as I said, virtually every aspect of operating any kind of business.
When you think of the technology available to us today, this seems like a wonderful time for a small business to be able to look like a much larger business.
Well, yeah, certainly. And there are many things a small business can do with ease and with less cost than would have been the case in the past. Just to cite one example, it used to be when someone mentioned the word marketing, many people immediately thought of advertising and expensive advertising. But today, much of what is required for successful marketing costs little or nothing.
Exactly.
And I'm talking about social media marketing. And by the way, SCORE does practice what we preach. You know, we do use constant contact. We have a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, a website, and so on. So, yes, we make use of technology, and we certainly encourage small businesses to use it, not just for marketing either. I mean, it could be research. You used to have to pay some pretty high-paid consultants to do business research. Someone can sit in front of a computer now and do it as well and do it faster and for little or nothing.
To even get started, say a person wants to walk into a bank, they need to have a pretty solid business plan.
They shouldn't think of walking into any lender without a well-organized, well-articulated business plan. If they do, they might well get directed to SCORE.
That's exactly right. So what would you do? You would sit somebody down, they've got a great idea, but that is it. How do we go from here to there?
Yeah, and we do get many. We get a range of clients. Some do walk in and they've got an idea. They're passionate about it. but they really don't have a good fix on what they need to do to get started and to sustain any success they might enjoy. But we also have people who come in who may have a draft of a business plan. But so the first thing we'll do is called listening. Usually that first session is given over largely to trying to learn what kind of a business a person has in mind, where they are in the process, and that can mean required filings with the state on something as elemental as a business name, which needs to be registered through the Secretary of State for the state of Ohio. And then we'll listen and learn and then begin to apply SCORE resources. As I said, it could be a one-on-one arrangement, but it could also be 2 or 3 of us. In fact, recently I assembled a team of 6 of us to address the needs of a particular client whose needs were complex.
These are free services, Mike?
Yeah, many people who come to SCORE will ask us, and you can hear the amazement in their voice when they say, "You mean I don't have to pay you guys? Is it really free?" And the answer is yes. SCORE counseling has always been a no-cost proposition. The counseling we provide is entirely confidential. In fact, the only exception to that is if a SCORE client is doing particularly well, we might go to them and ask them for permission to market them as we are marketing SCORE. And by the way, we've never had a client say, "No, don't market
right,
us."
yeah, no, don't tell anybody about us.
Yeah. But yeah, so the counseling is no cost and it is confidential.
Mike Johnson is a counselor with SCORE. You are back to being a counselor, and that was originally what drew you to this. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I did have a long career in the corporate world, 35 years with 3 big companies in New York and Ohio. I started with General Electric in New York. It was GE who actually moved me here to, northern Ohio to Cleveland. And then I moved on to TRW, another large Fortune 500 company. And then back in 1990, Timken came calling, and I moved here and have lived in North Canton ever since. I decided after those 35 years that I wanted what I call the post-corporate phase of life. I had some endeavors that I really wanted to undertake, and I knew they wouldn't be fulfilled as long as I was in that corporate harness. There was very little balance to my life.
Yeah,
And I was actually doing a program on a totally unrelated topic when a woman approached and asked me what I knew about SCORE. And I had heard about SCORE and knew essentially what it was, but not in depth. And she asked me if I would be her guest at the next meeting of the area chapter. I said yes. That was 8 years ago.
Wow.
And then, then almost immediately I was asked to start filling some leadership positions. So eventually I wound up serving as a chapter chairman and then a district director, and then decided after 8 years I'd really like to get back to doing more counseling.
Yeah, just the roll up your sleeves in the trenches,
Right,
one-on-one.
Yeah.
What would be your particular area of expertise that you are able to share with?
Well, let me say that most of us, even though we might have backgrounds that are industry specific, we've had enough experiences within those industries to be able to apply the lessons we've learned to a wide range of businesses. In my case, I'm often asked to take on clients who do need help with business planning. Anybody who's been an exec with large companies has to do business planning, and usually on an annual basis. And I finished up my career as a VP of corporate marketing and communications, so I provide a lot of marketing counsel. And there are other things that come along, but those are 2 of the areas where I find myself getting involved often.
Someone listening right now might really have a great idea, and they would like to start to sketch out a business plan. What kinds of things should that include?
Well, certainly, if they were sitting down with us, we would say, we would ask, so what research have you done?
Yeah.
What sort of competition exists in the marketplace? How would you differentiate the product or the service that you have from others that might be providing the same or a very similar product or service? We would ask them if they have articulated the objectives that they actually have in mind for their business. Some have, some haven't. I'm recalling one client who came to us to tell us that her dream was to open an establishment which would make and sell high-quality pizzas. This was not going to be a sit-down place. It was going to be a delivery-type operation or picking it up. She had quit her day job. She had laid out the money to purchase the equipment she needed. She then told us she had gone to a bank to get a loan, and the bank said, "Where's your business plan?"
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so
the problem.
so she came to SCORE.
Oops. Yeah.
And we took her through the process of beginning to think more strategically about the business that she wanted to start. And so, yes, we would ask, after learning a little bit about any research that a small business has done, to articulate the objectives. We'll ask what strategies they're thinking of employing to achieve those objectives. We'll encourage them to articulate messages that they think they would need to convey to particular audiences if they're going to persuade certain audiences to do business with them.
To buy hers instead of any of the millions of others.
We would, in fact, then begin to talk about the tactics they would employ, and so on. So there are many elements to a good business plan. We aren't out, by the way, to help them develop business plans which become encyclopedic length tomes, but rather something they can look at and consult and use as a tool on a daily basis.
Something that's absolutely practical, where it gives up people step by step what should
because
your
a
next
person
steps
can
be.
go online and a person can find templates for business plans.
Sure.
And some of them will run 25 or 30 pages.
Yes, they will.
And that many small businesses find that daunting, especially if they haven't had any experience in creating a good strategic business plan. So we've developed our own templates, and they are less daunting.
Is there a happy ending? How is she doing?
So far as I know, she's doing well. And by the way, that's one of the things we do each year for the last 7, 8, 9 years. We bring in December 4 or 5 of our success stories. And we put on a quite large event at which we recognize their successes, invite them to speak about how SCORE has helped them, and to bring along any of their products or services or literature to be displayed. And everybody, and those events are well covered in the media. So we enjoy touting the successes that SCORE clients have earned.
Such a nice idea. Is that open to the community?
We invite in. We invite in economic development people. We invite in our local, state, and federal government officials. We invite in donors to SCORE. We invite in news media. We also invite in leaders from Kent State University at Stark. Our offices here are located in the conference center on the campus of Kent State at Stark, which kindly provides us at no charge office space, computers, conference rooms, equipment, and so on.
Yes,
Everything one would
wonderful
need to serve effectively as consultants to businesses.
Perfect. We're speaking with Mike Johnson. He is a counselor with SCORE. I understand you've just finished up doing a series of workshops with another university locally at Malone. Tell us about those. How'd that go?
Yeah, we each Tuesday during the month of March, we have been putting on a workshop. It was, in fact, open to the public. The first one was putting together a business plan, and then we moved on to creating a marketing plan, and then we had a third one on getting yourself ready to apply for a loan, and so on. And the good folks at Malone University gave us a learning lab so that each attendee has a PC in front of him on which they can be entering information. We gave each one a flash drive so that they'll have a record to keep of anything they've entered into that computer. And at the end, anyone who's been through those sessions should have a much stronger fix for what is required to start and or succeed if they are already in business.
Mm-hmm. And they're on their way. We're going to be back with more with Mike Johnson. You're listening to Our Community. Stay with us.